Kohli took the phone from my hand to take a closer look, after which his face lit up, and then he turns towards me and tells me with beaming eyes, "Wow, that's amazing, man." I regard Virat Kohli as having had the biggest influence on my adult life, even more than my parents, and trust me, that's saying a lot because I love my parents. I've previously even described him as someone who's been like a father figure to me ever since I lost my father. So meeting Virat Kohli during the 2022 season of the IPL will forever be one of the best experiences of my life, probably in the top 3, and trust me, it's going to take some doing for this experience to be displaced from the top 3. And in this video, I'm going to describe in granular detail how the meeting came about, because the encounter was a fascinating one because it came against all odds and amidst a lot of stress and drama and whatnot leading up to it. So during the 2022 season of the IPL, I was working as an anchor cum producer for the Chennai Super Kings, and during the season I would attend the team's practice sessions to be able to cover shoots during practice. On the 11th of April, which is a very auspicious day, not only because I met Virat Kohli on that day, but also because it's my favorite Gaurav Kapoor's birthday, as the CSK team buses were entering Mumbai's BKC ground for a team practice session, I also saw RCB buses parked in the same premises. As soon as I saw those RCB buses, I thought to myself very excitedly, what if Kohli is here? But I was very quick to calm myself and temper my excitement, because during the 2021 season of the IPL, when I was working as an anchor for the Kolkata Knight Riders, there was an instance when both KKR as well as RCB were practicing at the same time at Mumbai's Wankhede Stadium. But on that occasion, much to my utter dismay, King Kohli had not attended RCB's practice session. Upon entering the ground, the first person that I noticed in a crowd of men all wearing RCB colours is the man himself, which is quite funny because he's only 5 feet 9 inches tall, so he's not the biggest person, but what King Kohli may lack in terms of his height, he more than makes up in terms of the bottomless reserves of energy that he exudes, as well as the larger than life personality that he carries, which makes him absolutely impossible to miss. As soon as I saw him, I darted straight towards him to watch him bat in the nets. I was a solitary figure wearing yellow in a sea of red as I stood in the RCB half of the field, watching the King practice in the nets for 30 odd minutes with rapt attention. And in doing so, I pleasantly surprised myself that I had it in me to singularly focus on something for that longer period of time, because trust me, when I'm doing my mindfulness meditation sessions, I can't focus on my breath for more than a few seconds, let alone a few minutes. But the fact that I was able to do so is a testament to the hypnotic effect that watching King Kohli bat has on me. As Virat Kohli emerged from the nets at the end of his batting stint, I emerged from the spell that he had cast on me and made my way back to that half of the field to which I was supposed to belong. After which, I very impulsively approached a fellow member of CSK's content team and requested him to be on standby to take a picture of me with Kohli if and when the opportunity to do so would present itself. Much to my surprise and annoyance, this person tells me that he would only take a picture of me with Kohli if I sought permission from the team manager to do so. These bloody teachers' pets, I tell you. Now I knew that I had to take matters into my own hands. The RCB players had now begun to cool down because the training session was coming to an end, after which I decided to take up a strategic spot on the ground from where I was hoping I'd be able to intercept Kohli as he'd be making his way out of the ground. After nailing down a spot, I stood there patiently waiting for my moment to arrive, hoping against all hope that it actually would. Except that there was to be a sting in the tail. I say that because that same little annoying teacher's pet decided to play spoil sport once again. When this guy saw me standing in the same spot for a prolonged period of time with my gaze fixated on the RCB side of the field where Kohli was packing up, this guy proceeds to rat on me by informing senior members of the content team about my intentions to approach Kohli for a picture. Soon enough, I get approached by a couple of senior members of the content team telling me in a tone that was borderline threatening that I should be very wary of the consequences if I approach Kohli for a picture without having sought permission from the CSK team manager. As much as I was tempted to respond in a reactive way and tell them to just leave me alone, I made the very wise decision to cool my jets and politely tell them that I would be seeking permission. After they had that word with me, I stood there in a dilemma with regard to what course of action to take. As my mind was racing at the rate of knots, I received a hint from heaven when something that I'd once read in Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week and something that I also talked about in this video about how I met MS Dhoni sprung to my mind, which is that ask for forgiveness, not permission. Here's exactly what Tim Ferriss had said in conjunction with this nugget. If the potential damage is moderate or in a way reversible, don't give people the chance to say no. Most people are fast to stop you before you get started, but hesitant to get in the way if you're moving. Get good at being a troublemaker and saying sorry when you really screw up. That reminder or that hint from heaven couldn't have come at a better time because it gave me the inspiration to not seek permission but to go ahead with my plan and to ask for forgiveness in the aftermath of carrying out my plan. I mean, even if I asked for permission, there was like a minimal, if not zero probability that I would get it. Besides, I felt, why did I even need permission to carry out an innocuous act? I'm not so spineless as to bend to these restrictive rules of propriety when those rules themselves are improper and completely senseless. Now that I had mental clarity with regard to what to do, I started thinking about how I'd like for my encounter with Kohli to materialize. And I couldn't help but feel that given what the man means to me, just taking a picture with him wouldn't really do justice. In other words, I wanted the encounter to be a lot more special than one that simply entails taking a picture with him. Don't get me wrong, I would have very happily settled for just a picture, but if there was a way to make the meeting a lot more memorable, I'd absolutely go for it. And while brainstorming, I thought to myself that it was my radical fitness transformation that was inspired by Virat Kohli that's had a tremendously positive impact on every single aspect of my life. Yes, it's improved my physical appearance, but more importantly, it's had a massive impact on my mentality, my energy levels, my self-esteem, my confidence, and last but certainly not the least, my overall well-being and happiness. This is what I wanted to make known to Kohli, the monumental impact that the fitness transformation that was inspired by him has had on every single aspect of my personal and professional life. Guys, speaking of my fitness transformation, I'm going to be hosting a workshop on the 21st of April where I share everything that I've learned over the course of my 7-year fitness journey such that you too can become fitter and happier and reap all the benefits that I've reaped through fitness. It's a 3-hour workshop where I'll comprehensively cover a whole host of topics pertaining to everything that you see on your screen, along with leaving plenty of time for Q&A as well. Just 299 rupees to attend the workshop, which you should not be looking at as a cost. Instead, look at it as an investment that has the potential to completely alter the course of your life. You'll find the link to the registration page in the description, and trust me, the only regret that you'll have if you sign up is not having done so much earlier. So hope to see you on the 21st of April. Now back to the video. So at this point, I opened up my phone gallery to find a picture that highlights my fitness transformation. And as I was doing so, Kohli had begun to walk towards the exit, only to stop midway down the field to have a conversation with Jaddu Bhai. I found a suitable picture and kept it ready. And at this point, my heart was beating at the rate of knots because the moment of truth, the hour of reckoning was here. Time seemed to stop to a standstill, only for it to pick up again once Kohli said his goodbyes to Jaddu and resumed his march towards the ground's exit. When he was nearly within touching distance from where I was standing, I told myself, Anubhav, just express yourself, after which I let my instincts take over. Hi Virat, can I show you something? Is what I said as Kohli was walking past me. Even before I could finish my sentence, one of the members of RCB's security personnel who was walking alongside Kohli intervened and asked me to stop where I was. But as he was doing so, Kohli turns towards me and replies with, yeah, sure. After I got permission from the man himself, I confidently walked up to him and showed him this picture on my phone, telling him that this is what I used to be like, pointing to the picture on the left, and this is what I've now become, pointing to the picture on the right, and it's all thanks to the power of your example. Kohli took the phone from my hand to take a closer look, after which his face lit up, and then he turns towards me and tells me with beaming eyes, wow, that's amazing, man. You could tell from the expression on Kohli's face that he was genuinely happy for me. All thanks to you is what I repeated. You've had the biggest impact on my adult life. He continued smiling, looking at me like a proud father looks at his son. After which I asked him if I could take a picture with him. He said no problem whatsoever, but let's make it quick because the guys are waiting for me in the bus. I turned on my phone camera, switched to selfie mode, and then proceeded to take a picture with the king. A picture that from a personal standpoint doesn't just speak 1,000 words, but speaks more than 1,000,000 words. Once I take the picture, Kohli shakes my hand and says, "Keep it up, champ," and then heads towards the bus. In the few moments after that encounter, I was absolutely chuffed, but in a very calm and tranquil way, not in a jumping for joy kind of way. For some reason, that encounter had a very calming effect on me and filled me with a very relaxed sense of energy and happiness. I took a moment to myself just to relive what had happened, just so that that encounter is etched in my memory for the rest of my life. And as I reflected, I realized that during those few minutes that I spent with the king, I was completely oblivious to what was happening around us. In other words, I was completely immersed in what the Zen masters describe as the present moment. Who knows, maybe the 30-minute meditation session that I underwent while watching Kohli in the nets may have trained me for that. What's funny and equally satisfying, albeit in a slightly perverse way, is that while on the team bus on the way back to the hotel after practice, that same teacher's pet that I talked about asked me to show the picture that I took with Virat Kohli. He sees it and says, "Cool," while feigning nonchalance. His muted reaction wasn't the least bit surprising to me, because it's human nature to disdain the things you do not have but which you wish that you did. You know how they say when you truly want something, the entire universe conspires to help you achieve it? Given the manner in which the events of the day unfolded, I couldn't help but think that having this intimate encounter with Kohli was a part of God's plan. If you enjoyed this video, then there's a high degree of probability that you'll also enjoy this one, in which I talk about my fascinating encounter with MS Dhoni. Also, tell me in the comment section, whom do you idolize more, MS Dhoni or Virat Kohli? I mean, both might be your idols like they are for me, but who is it that you idolize a teeny bit more than the other? Is your personality type more like Virat Kohli's, or is it more like MS Dhoni's? I'd love to know in the comment section. For me, I was definitely more of a Kohli in my early 20s, in my mid 20s, but as I started approaching my late 20s and even entered my 30s, the proportion of Dhoni in me has increased and the proportion of Kohli in me has gone down, and now I think it's a very healthy and equal mix of MS Dhoni as well as Virat Kohli. Lastly, don't forget about the fitness workshop that's coming up on the 21st of April. You'll find the registration link in the description. That's it for this video. Until next time, take care, stay safe, keep smashing it, and cheers.